Hey guys, so guess what I found? I found a Current Designs Solstice GTS. This is a sea kayak slash touring kayak that's I think 17.7 foot long, so almost 18 foot, and it's designed for, I guess, the speed and stability in the ocean. Before this video, I had a Brooklyn kayak company, I think ST283. That's a touring kayak that's about 15 foot long, and it's made of plastic. This one, I believe it's made of either carbon fiber or Kevlar. So we'll have to find out, because I bought this used from a local gentleman, and he gave me a really good deal on it. Due to his health concerns or health reasons, he couldn't ride it anymore, and he wants to pass this on to someone who would actually enjoy it more, which is me. So I got this today, and as you can see, it hasn't been paddled for quite a long time, and it's just been sitting on the rack. So what am I gonna do very first is I am going to actually do a full waxing of the surf of the top and the bottom using my trusted car wax, which works great for clear coating. So after I wash it a little bit, I'm gonna try to just check on all the hardware components, make sure nothing is worn out or needs replacement, and then hopefully at the next section of the video, I would be able to actually take this onto the canal that we usually ride, and then give you guys an impression on what I think about this quite long 17-foot sea kayak compared to my existing one, which is the Brooklyn, again, Brooklyn 15-foot touring kayak. All right, so let me get started. I'm gonna just do a general clean, and then we'll come back and inspect the condition of the kayak. As you can see, it's pretty dirty, but I can tell under those dust and dirt, the actual paint is in excellent condition. So again, as the gentleman said, it's a nice kayak with no damage on the bottom of the hull at all. Yeah, so let's get started. And of course, a rudder that's again foot pedal operated. I'm gonna show you guys in there. So the inside, again, very clean. Everything looks fine. The foam probably needs a replacement, but again, it's just, I got this at such a good price. I'm not complaining about anything, but it does look like this bungee is pretty worn out. So this bungee needs to be replaced, and the cover bungee also looks a little bit worn, so we might be able to find some replacement for the top cover. And then of course the rear cover, again, still slightly worn due to exposed into the sun, but still works. The back bungee looks to be okay, so I think the front bungee, and again, the color is faded for those little floating plastic beads that's controlling the rudder. But that's overall just taking a look, and there's absolutely no damage to the kayak at all. So let me get it cleaned, and we'll take a closer look after I finish cleaning it. All right, guys. So finally, weather's nice, low tide, and no wind. I was able to take my Solstice GTS out today for a nice ride. My goal is to go around Virginia Keel Loop here in Miami. It's about 67 miles. So completely doable. I'm launching from the old Marina Theater right here in Key Biscayne. And by the way, a great place to actually launch your kayak. If you don't have one, there is a PADL pedal rental right next to the launching site. A very shallow, short sand place over here, and water is nice in general, but sometimes there are some jet skis and boats going across, but it's a really nice spot to launch. Water is very shallow here as well. Okay, again, this is my probably third ride on the Solstice GTS. Even on the first ride, I was impressed by how stable it is for a sitting narrow sea kayak, right? So this time the goal is to go faster and figure out you know, how it works in kind of a long ride situation. I have all my safety gears ready, have my water, you know, coffee mix, bilge pump, and pedal float in case I do flip, my PFD, my very nice mission hat, that's UPF 50, so good for the sun, and my earth pack watertight backpack. So that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna change my shoes and start launching and start kayaking. And of course I have my Apex 2. I'm gonna turn on the kayak mode, which is a really nice feature on the Apex 2. So I'm gonna get started, and maybe I'll talk, you know, during my pedal rest point, and tell you guys all about how this kayak works. So preferably you'll want to launch from a sandy area and have the boat parallel to the water. So you get the boat a little bit into the water, and then you get into the water, and then you're setting the boat. That will be the best way. You don't want to have the boat perpendicular to the beach, otherwise you're gonna fall off on the sitting kayak that's narrow and long. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. As you can see, the wave is already pushing the boat onto the shore, but this is the correct direction, and you want to push it away from the shore and then just go sitting side. Okay, it's okay to get wet, get your you know, wet shoes ready, and we're gonna launch. So what I can tell you about the Current Design Solstice GTS is, yes, it's narrow, but it's super stable. It's more stable than a slightly wider boat that I had before, which is the Brooklyn Kayak Company SK287. A boat is slightly shorter and slightly narrower, but not as stable as the Solstice GTS. And I'm sitting here again, no wind, no current. This is low tide, going low tide, yeah, it's just fantastic kayak to have if you can find one for a really great deal. Okay, again, I don't think, for me, it's justifiable to spend you know, $4,000-5,000 for a Cavalier kayak, but if you can find it used, great value. If you can't find one used, consider get a plastic roto-molded sea kayak first. That sea kayak is probably going to do about 85-90% of the job of this one. It's just not going to be as comfortable, as fast, or as light. But yeah, first couple times pedaling, the third time my speed is already much faster. It's very smooth, and again, no complaints. So I'm going to continue pedaling, and we're going to come back. I'm going to give you guys a conclusion about how this kayak performs. So look at the waves. It was remaining wakes caused by some boats, and it was much more stronger before. The kayak is very stable in the waves. Like at no point I felt like I'm gonna tip over when a big wave starts to hit me, or the wakes coming from the boats. But yeah, it's just so stable that I have absolutely no complaint about this kayak. And I also deployed the I think it's called the Keel, so it is in the water, and it's able to track like super straight at the direction that I want to go. So no complaints. So I'm about 3/4 of the way to the start, and I want to wrap up this video with the high praise for the Current Designs Solstice GTS. Granted, this is not even the newest model. This is the pre-2009 year model. The design is slightly different compared to the most current design, which is after 2010. But this kayak is so stable, and it's so confidence inspiring, even for me as a fresh kayaker, just started out like 1 month, 2 months ago. It is very confidence inspiring. Okay, and couple of things to note is make sure you get fresh bungee cords and safety lines. You know, when you get your kayak, if you get it used, just install some higher quality bungee cords and, you know, marine grade safety lines, because that's kind of important if you do fall off in the water. Otherwise, have your pedal float for a sitting kayak, have your bilge pump for your sitting kayak, and when you go on the water, make sure you have plenty of liquid. And for me, you know, I don't really go, you know, offshore sea kayaking. As you can see, I'm always very close to shore, and I have my full PFD gears on me. So yeah, safety first. Even though it's a, you know, comfortable, confidence inspiring kayak, just don't push your limit to the point of no return, and to the point of, you know, too dangerous for you. Otherwise, I think you're going to enjoy this kayak if you're looking for one. If you can find it locally for a great price, by great price I mean less than $1,000 for a excellent like new unit like this one I got, I think you have a great deal and you will never regret getting this kayak. Okay, so if you guys have any questions about the Solstice GTS, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. Otherwise, I'm going to finish my pedaling and I'm going to enjoy the last bit of the, you know, Miami skyline, and I'm going to call it a day. All right, guys, so I'm back in my backyard, and it was a successful trip. So the Current Designs Solstice GTS, and I think I can wrap up this preliminary review after about 3 to 4 rides. It's a exceptional sea kayak, highly capable. It's able to actually load a lot of gears, even though I didn't load any gear. My pedaling is limited to local, you know, small loops near the keys, so there's no day trips and things like that. So I did not test its, you know, loading capacity. But for the for my today's ride, which is around 8 miles, it's a loop around Virginia Key here in Florida. The kayak did excellent, and handled waves all very, very well. And at no moment I felt the kayak is gonna tip over. No moment. And and the keel, it's very, very easy to operate, very smooth. Some of the cheaper sea kayaks might use a keel that's very hard to turn with your footrest, but this one, it operates, you know, as silk, you know, as smooth as silk, and really just absolutely no complaint at all. The bungees hold my gears perfectly fine, and with my newly installed perimeter line, again, I used a very, very high quality nylon marine grade perimeter lines, and actually it looks pretty good with this white and yellow blue crossing going across. It's, you know, just handles all the situations perfectly fine. I am a beginner kayaker. I started about 2 months ago, and if you are in the same boat as me looking for a sea kayak and you see a Solstice for sale locally, you know, used, grab it, and you will be very, very happy with this kayak. But something important to also point out is your weight. So I weigh around 148 to 150 pounds, and I'm 5'7", and this is the GTS, the smaller version. So with a, I think, 22-inch cockpit size. So this is actually on the small side. It's one of the smallest for sea kayak, not the smallest, of course, for the surf. I think they call surfing kayaks. But again, so this is just to give you a comparison. If you're a slightly larger person, you might want to think about getting the GT or the GT high volume. And for the largest person, that's probably over 200 pounds. And also if you want to carry a lot of gears. But for a smaller, medium-sized build person, this kayak fits like a glove. And the knee rest is very, very comfortable with replaceable foam, and this foam is still in pretty good condition, so I'm not going to touch it, but, you know, provides excellent support. And that's pretty much it. I just bought a Seals Cockpit Seal Ultra 1.2. Supposedly this one should fit the cockpit, so I'm going to actually just get the cockpit nicely closed, and then I'm going to put my tarp on top, and that's how I store the kayaks over here. But that's pretty much it. So if you guys found this video helpful, or if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section below, and to hit that like button or subscribe to the channel. I should have more videos coming out for you guys. Okay, so thanks again. See you in the next video. Take care.